Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now 2004's classic Far Cry will run on just about anything these days, and if you're running it on a higher end system then playing at 4K should pose no problems. This classic was considered pretty demanding back in the day and visually it was very impressive, but I think a remastered version would be very welcome. Until that day however, we have this, released by FarCrysis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This mod creates Far Cry 1 inside of 2007's Crysis and at the moment includes custom enemies, custom weapons, vehicles, a whole lot of nostalgia, and features the training, fault and peer maps. Because it's a Crysis mod, it is without a doubt what I like to call a PC melter, in that it will push even the best hardware to its limits when playing at high resolutions and settings. Using the very high preset at 4K with anti-aliasing off and running the game with my i5 and 6700 XT will cause some significant drops below 60 FPS, but it looks absolutely fantastic. This is a free download on ModDB and can simply be dropped into a mods folder in the Crysis game directory. Just like the original Far Cry game, it features the old school aiming style as well and is well worth a play for any fan of the original title or any fan of Crysis. It looks like Crysis, but actually it looks a bit better than Crysis, but it feels like Far Cry 1, which is pretty awesome. Being a budget tech enthusiast though, I couldn't help but wonder just how well it ran on something a little bit older. This is my GeForce GTX 760 Ti from my previous video. It's a performance segment OEM card that launched back in 2013. It too has no problems running the original Far Cry with max settings including ultra anti-aliasing, and it also has no issues with playing the vanilla version of Crysis at very high as well with 4x anti-aliasing. We aren't making any visual sacrifices here, and luckily we don't have to in order to achieve a plus 60 FPS average. 14 years on and the game still looks phenomenal, but what about FarCrysis? Well, first of all, let's talk about the performance figures from the original 2007 unmodded game. We were seeing 64 FPS on average in this system-intensive early area with 1.1% lows of 47 and 35 respectively. Now, if you have the base game and want to try the FarCrysis mod, then I'm going to say that you should be able to do so, providing you are satisfied with the performance that the vanilla game gives you. It's unfair to compare the performance directly, to be honest, because although FarCrysis is a Crysis mod, it uses a custom map, custom models and custom assets, and in my opinion it looks better than the original game. Despite all this, it only seemed to run on average with about 6 frames less when using the 760 Ti, and the percentile figures were pretty close. Again, I should reiterate that a direct performance comparison isn't really fair, but it's nice to know that if, like me, you can run Crysis smoothly, then this Far Cry 1 mod should run smoothly as well. Now, I read in a recent post by FarCrysis over on ModDB that this mod has now been ported to Crysis Wars, and any future versions will be released as Crysis Wars mods, but for now the latest version, 1.2, can be used with Crysis. I'm using it with the GOG version. But there we go. Why a mod video, I hear you ask? Well, I'm a long-time fan of Crysis as well as Crysis mods, and it always intrigues me as to how the game runs on certain hardware. Thanks to FarCrysis and anyone else who worked on this, because as a Crysis and Far Cry fan, this makes me very happy, and it's nice to know that we are still seeing mods for Crysis all these years later. As for this one then, thank you for watching. I probably should state that this video isn't sponsored or anything. I wasn't asked to make this. I just saw this mod the other day and thought that looks pretty cool. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, leave a like on it down below. Leave a dislike if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll see all of you in the next one.